So just saw a post on Reddit. There's a new dupe bug, and I just wanted to check it out. So Blueprint Designer, the guy made this thing here, you know, foundations, walls, and then that door and a ramp. I don't know exactly what's needed. I didn't try to experiment with what I could have and not have. I just know that when I tried it with just foundations, it didn't work. I don't know if it's like that you can't see it or what the deal is, but get that set up. Get a, not blueprint, get a truck, drop it down. You're going to want to put fuel in it, and you're going to want to put in whatever you want to dupe. So, for example, I don't know, 100 hard drives, 100 summer sloops, 100 power shards, 100. Oh, okay, I didn't mean that many power shards. Those are the ones I need to put back. Oh, it's fine. We'll just make it a whole bunch of them. Drive this thing up in here, run back out, and then run away to where the door closes. For some reason, when the door was open, it wouldn't work. And then just look at this, and I'm just making it a new blueprint every time I do this. So make it blueprint 7, which doesn't exist. Save the blueprint. Okay, now here's the weird thing. Because his video didn't work like this, but it very consistently is working like this for me. When I go to place this, there will not be anything inside. And you can see there's the truck is there, and there's nothing back there, right? When I go to place this, though, that truck disappears, and a ghost truck appears there, and there's nothing in here. And you're like, wait a minute, no truck, no truck. And then there's this ghost thing, and it doesn't have wheels, and it's not actually there. So it makes it seem like you've lost everything, which would be a really good, that would be a really good troll. You just gotta, I don't know what makes this disappear, flying through it or being on the ground near it or jumping. But if you just kind of like hang out near it and just kind of keep running around, I don't know, after 30 seconds, 60 seconds or something, it'll just disappear. So I'll just keep doing this. And if it also, the other thing I've got it to make it disappear is putting another one of those down. And it like helped it disappear too. I don't know. And I've also like tore those down and put those back up and stuff. But just eventually hanging out over here makes it leave. And I don't know if that needs to be erased or what. But some combination of what I'm doing makes this thing go away. There. Okay, it disappeared. Now, the moment it disappears, you're good. And you can take this blueprint, and it won't show a truck in there, but the truck will be there. And the truck will be there, and the truck will be there, and the truck will be there. And each one of these trucks is going to have all those items in it. Now, I don't know if I can exit the game and go and then, like, you know, load in and use that blueprint and these will still be in there or what. I haven't tried that yet, but I do not intend on actually cheating. I do have all of these, and I've been dumping them over here. So I've got some hard drives. You know, we're not even doing alternate recipes. I've got a few summer sloops. I've got a few Mercer spheres. Also, this one's full of Mercer spheres. And then for power shards, I've got 1, 2, 3. And then this is the 4th one. Obviously, that's not even enough. So put the 5th one up here. And I need 500 of those back, because those actually need to go back to the base, because those are the real ones I used. So I don't really think I'm going to need any of this stuff, but I brought it over here just in case, you know, in case of emergency, break glass. I've got 20,000 power shards, 3,500 Mercer spheres, 1,800 summer sloops, and 726 hard drives. There's not an icon for hard drives. I don't know why, because they didn't expect you to need that, but I have no intention of using any of this, but just for some reason, if I want to do something silly, like have a conveyor belt of hard drives going around or whatever, then, you know, I might use them just for that purpose, just for fun, not for, you know, cheaty purposes. Okay, I basically reversed everything in here. So before, this was the entrance and that was the exit, and I just flipped them. So now this is the exit and that's the entrance. And the reason I did that, so before you came in here, you went around to the back and then you came down into the train station over here. And my goal was to have multiple train stations. I don't know how many I'm going to need. Maybe I need 1, maybe I need 3 or 4. But the goal was that, you know, there was a train station here and then you could pull out and leave. And then the next one and the next one and the next one. Well, I kind of built all this stuff and put it in the way. And I mean, I could tear this down and build it somewhere else, but I just don't want to, because it works and I don't want to mess with it. So the simple solution was just to reverse how the track runs. So now this is the entrance, and you run around to the back, and then you can come into the stations, and then you can exit out. And I've got 2 stations there. I could easily put a 3rd station and a 4th station in. I don't know how many I might need, but that 4 should be more than enough. I mean, if you needed more than that, I mean, you could tear this down and put a 5th one or a 6th one in, or probably put one in front of the other, or whatever. You could do whatever you wanted. So that should be plenty of room for that. But that's the main reason I did it, was just because I don't want the trains to ever back up on the main line. So you exit the main line and you come in, and then you go into the station. So there's all this room for trains to sit, right? So you could have 3 or 4 trains sitting, waiting on the station. And then when you exit, then you just get on the track. If I did it the other way, and let's say these stations face the other direction, and you came in, there would be room for like 1 or 2 trains and then the station. And then when you came out of the station, you'd have all this space for no reason. So that's why I've got it set up like this. I want all this extra track before you get to the station, just so there's room for trains to sit. So that's that. Now we need to talk about what we're actually going to do. And all of this is working exactly as it should. I'm very happy with all this. Everything's doing exactly what it should be doing, with no issues, no backups. We should be making 780 of the AlCAD sheets, and we're making 780. And then down there, we should be making 1080 of the casings, and we are. And they're all just going into the sink right now just to keep it running. I could not sink it. So then the question is, what else are we going to do here? This is the Aluminum Foundry. We're making the basic aluminum stuff, right? I had talked about making these fused modular frames here because we've got the casings. We've got nitrogen gas nearby. We don't have heavy modular frames here, but I could easily use drones to bring that from the medium factory over because we need such a tiny number, right? Then starting down here, okay, we could use our sheets, and we've got copper. I've got a copper node already connected to this building, and we're not using it all. And there's another copper node nearby. So we could easily bring some more copper in and make copper sheets, and we could make heat sinks here. We could take the casings and we could make radio control units, but we would have to bring the crystal oscillators and the computers from the medium factory over. But again, don't need very many. So like 1 drone on each one of those items would be way overkill. Or I could try to send the aluminum casings back to the medium factory. Then on this one, we would need the heat sinks. The gas is here, water's outside. We would need some rubber. We could make cooling systems. Otherwise, like I don't have nitrogen gas over at the medium factory. And then here we would need the cooling systems, the radio control units. We would need some motors and some rubber to make turbo motors. So it's kind of a question of, okay, well, we could just take a train and load it up with the aluminum casings and the AlCAD sheets, send it back to the medium factory, and then try to make all this over there. Number 1, there's not that much room left at the medium factory. It's just about full. And 2, I don't have nitrogen over there. Although I'm assuming that I could pipe nitrogen into a train station and use a liquid car, and I could train the gas around. That's my guess. I don't know. I haven't tested it. So that's one option, but there's not really enough space over there. I could drone some of this stuff. We could do some of it here, some of it there. But then the question kind of becomes, okay, well, how much of this stuff do we need, right? Like for the fused modular frames to make 1.5, I need 1.5 heavy modular frames. I think that's all we have an excess of at the medium factory. So I can only make 1.5 of these. I can't make any more than that. And then some of these things here, like, okay, I would need 7.5 cooling systems a minute. And then this is only making 6. And that needs 12 heat sinks, right? And then, like, okay, well then how many heat sinks was this making? I think it was 6. That's 2.5 radio control units. And, so that was 7.5. So probably the radio control units would be worse because you would need, if you were actually trying to do this, you would need 3.75. So you would need, like 1.5 of these. So you would need, 3 or 4 computers a minute. And I'm pretty confident we don't have that many extra computers a minute. I don't think we're even making that many computers a minute. So my end goal for this, I think, is what I had planned originally, which is a large factory. We've got We've got down here in the bottom, we've got our medium factory. We put our oil refinery over here. We've got our little crystal thing, wherever that may be. Oh, I guess it's right there is the crystal. We've got the aluminum foundry. At some point for power, we're going to have the rocket fuel factory, I'm guessing, here in the crater. And, you know, I've been planning since kind of the beginning that I would build a large factory over here in the desert, and we would just kind of redo the medium factory as a large factory and just make everything again, starting with iron ingots and plates and rods and screws and all that stuff, but make it at a much larger scale. So my plan would be to just take all this aluminum here and just put it on a train and send it to the large factory. The thing is, to build the large factory, I'm going to need a bunch of Mark III miners. I'm going to need some, you know, turbo motors. I don't want to be making the stuff by hand. So I think my plan for the rest of this episode is to try to automate these things. Try to automate everything I can. I don't think I can really do some of these space elevator parts, but try to automate everything I can, even if it's in tiny little numbers. Even if we're only making half a turbo motor a minute, that would be fine, because I just want to make the stuff so that when I can do the large factory, I've got what I need to build the large factory. Before we can do the large factory, we're going to have to do rocket fuel, because we're not going to have enough power. Let me run over here to the power. Yeah, so we're only making 13,000. We're only consuming 8,400, but that's because most of the medium factory isn't doing anything. If everything actually turned on all at once, we would actually trip a breaker right now. So we definitely are not building a large factory without rocket fuel. So the rest of this episode, I'm going to try to get a bunch of these productions set up that I'm going to need to build more stuff. Then in future episodes, rocket fuel, and then after that, large factory. And I think when the large factory is up and running, we'll come back here and whatever little productions I've set up will tear down. So I think the first thing, just, I don't know. I don't think it matters. I think this will be the first thing. I need to do this on the top floor. The nitrogen gas can go upstairs. That's easy. So we need to get that connected and brought over here. And I'm not going to need much, because we're going to need 40 for that. And that's all we're going to make on that is 1. And then this says it needs 150, but we're not going to be able to run this at 100%, I'm pretty sure, because we're not going to get, I don't think anyway. That's like 190. I'm just going to bring a pipe over of like 600 nitrogen, and that's way more than enough. So let me get the 600 nitrogen over, and we're going to have to do some drone ports on the roof and some drone ports at the medium factory. So let me get that set up a little bit. I basically just took my blueprint that I used down there, because the pipes go all the way from basically that point to the factory. So I just extended it to here. And then I just used some structural steel here to kind of make a post and bridge that across. And right now, because this thing can get up to, I don't remember, whatever, 1,200 or something. So like theoretically you could need 2 pipes. We don't need 2 pipes. We don't even need 1 pipe. But I went ahead and hooked it up like this just so that I could come over here and overclock it and get, you know, I could max it out if I needed to. I think actually it could take 3 pipes, but we're not running 3 pipes. We don't even need 2 pipes. Basically, I have no idea why I did that. I just did it because I wanted to, and it's totally overkill. But anyways, we got the nitrogen running back to the factory. So up on the top floor, we're doing the silica there, and I think that's the copper down there. So I just skipped to this bay. I brought nitrogen down. I ran it in. This will be the input of the heavy modular frame, so I just ran it up to the roof. There's nothing up there. And then this just goes to here, and I need to get my aluminum casings over to here. So let me go downstairs and try to figure out where that is and get some casings here. All right, I just put a smart splitter on there, told it to send everything to the right and then overflow into that. I got a Mark IV belt here, 480. We only need 75, so I really didn't need to do that. So it comes up through here, goes up through there, comes up through here, and then goes in here. That'll get us our casings. We've got our gas. I just need to go up on the roof and get a drone port. We're going to have to fuel the drones. I haven't even thought of what I'm going to fuel the drones with. Yeah, probably something from the medium factory. They definitely don't need fueled on both ends because it's a pretty short run. fuel. What can we fuel the drones with? I literally don't have any of that. I don't have any of that at the medium factory. I hadn't thought about that. Okay. We'll have to come back to this. So back at the medium factory, we are bringing heavy oil residue over here because we were using that to make the smokeless powder. And I could definitely make some fuel out of that. I'm trying to remember. Did I have compacted coal anywhere near here? Because if I did, I could make turbo fuel. But either way, I think what we'll probably do, as odd as it may be, is something like this. Set this guy to residual fuel. Turns, yeah, that's what I want, right? And I could take the fuel and the compacted coal and make turbo fuel. I don't think it's really that necessary. I'm sure it's more efficient, but so if we do this, we can make fuel, and I just need a T thing down here. Oh, that would get us heavy oil. We need to connect this to power. That would make us fuel. We would need to package the fuel, though. Where can I jam a packager at? It's just... I guess we could just put it out here in the aisle. It doesn't really matter, right? We're going to package some fuel. We're going to need some empty canisters, which should be downstairs somewhere. I know at one time we had them up here, but pretty sure we don't have that. They're right there. I need that over here. Probably easier to do it downstairs. Let me figure that out. All right, so this down here is where that came off, and that's the old... This isn't even hooked up anymore. Anyways, so empty canisters. And come all the way down here and then pop up through the floor. And that should get our fuel. I wanted to say turbo fuel. That should get our fuel packaged. Because that's going to pop up in here. That'll give us packaged fuel. I guess we'll make a storage container. I guess we'll make a dimensional depot. I don't know why I need it, but I'm sure if I don't, I'll regret it. How many are you going to make? 40 a minute. So yeah, we'll just do a Mark III again. We'll do that. That'll give us some fuel. And then wherever the drone's going to be, which will be on the roof, but I got to figure out where are we going to pop through with heavy modular frames. And then I need to also send that fuel up there. Where are the heavy modular frames? Pretty sure there's heavy modular frames somewhere. I must not have it coming down, so it has to be like an empty belt. Have to be this belt then, right? Yeah, it's that belt. So we need this belt to continue now. Ah, you just do. And we need to get to the roof somehow. Might be easier just to go all the way down to the end and then pop up. I don't know. I'm just going to get rid of that for the moment. Maybe. What's up here? I mean, this seems pretty promising, right? Okay, heavy modular frames up to there. Heavy modular frames up to there. That gets us power up to here. There's power to there. There's the heavy modular frames. I need to get the fuel down here somehow from the far end, which means I probably shouldn't have done the fuel down there, but whatever. Transport, drone port. Do this. Put that there. That should fill up with some heavy modular frames. Do I punch the fuel down through the floor and run it all the way through these? Oh, there's all kinds of stuff in the way. This is why we changed this in the other factory. Should I just run it down through here? I could do that too. I could do that too. Let me just run it through here, I guess. All right, the fuel's all going up into the dimensional depot at the moment, but eventually it'll pop down. It always ends up over the light, but it'll pop down here, pop down here, pop down here. And I'm okay with this. Like I could put a bunch of things in to run it along the ceiling. I don't want to run it over there, and I'm okay with running it along the floor because I know we're going to need a few more drones. And we're going to need to pull some of these things. And doing this fuel right here is actually ideal, because just like right here where I just pulled off here and went up to a drone port, and then the fuel, we could do the same thing. So whatever else I need to send some rubber over there. We'll send the rubber up, and then we'll send the fuel up, right? So I think that makes sense, but I just need to let the dimensional depot fill up so that it starts sending some fuel this way, or go and reverse the conveyors or whatever it is. I don't remember how it acts weird. I swear that originally it always preferred the bottom port, but then it didn't do that one time, and then it preferred like the last one you hooked up or something. So let's see what it does now. Yeah, see, it's the oldest one that's hooked up. I don't know, but before it was going that way, and now it's preferring that way, which I don't care because I don't really need fuel in here. 400, it was almost full anyway. Either way. So that should be going up, and I can't actually get through the roof there. And this is all kind of temporary anyway. This is kind of outside what I expected this building to do. You should have some fuel coming. There it comes. I didn't really expect the medium factory to last this long, so we kind of made it so big we overextended it a little bit. All right. So we've got fuel here. This is going to be... Why can't I edit that? That's weird. Medium factory. Heavy mod frames. Output. Okay. I've never actually done this before, so heavy mod frames output is going to go to Aluminum Foundry heavy mod frames input, and that's it. We're not going to send heavy modular frames anywhere else. I don't think in this situation it necessarily matters where the drone is, but I'm going to say I probably want the drone over here. Just because there's not going to be fuel. So if it sits, I want it to sit here where there's fuel. But that does mean that... So if I needed to send heavy modular frames to 2 places and I put this drone here, this drone's going to sit here. This is its home. So this is where it's going to sit. And another drone can't come here. If I put the drone at the other end and it sat there, then another drone could come here, but don't think that's going to be a problem. Not enough fuel. How much fuel do you need? I guess we'll wait for some more fuel to show up then. Oh, okay. I think the drone just filled up. Can I ride on this? I think I can. Whoa. Why? Okay, I'm scared right now. I didn't expect it to fly out over the void. Okay, in my own defense. That didn't seem like necessary. Didn't really seem necessary. So I would have liked to have... Yeah, why did you do that? Why did you fly like out over the void like that? I kind of... Because you're going from here to there. Which in a straight line between those 2 points does not go over the void. And it's just like, oh, let me go this way. Anyways, I guess I need to go take the train over to the factory. I don't know what's going on. Let me drive over there. Yeah, I'm just watching the drone. Like, he's leaving here. Going here, and he definitely... swoops down. I don't know why he flies so low either. Yeah, because that roof is right there. I kind of expected it to just literally fly straight from here to there. and kind of maintain the same level, not go up and down, but whatever. All right, so there's our heavy modular frames over here. So this thing should be making some stuff for us. Yeah, fuse modular frames, which we were already making at one point, but hey, I'm about out of Mercer spheres. Oh, I'm out of Mercer spheres. That's kind of funny. Kind of funny, since I know right where one is. And now it's flying back that way, even though the medium factory's over there. Whatever. Let's go grab this. Try to grab it before any animal up here attacks me. Thanks. I'll just put a 5 on there. Just, it doesn't really matter. You can't pull stuff out of the depot that quick anyway, but hey, why not? All right, there's that. Now what? I think we'll make the heat sinks next, which takes the alkyd sheets and copper sheets. I'm going to need copper sheets, which means I'm going to need copper ingots, which means I'm going to need more copper. And I just did the math. And basically, I'm just going to turn this from 260 to 350. That will give us enough copper. And now I need to go make sure I'm smelting 350 copper into ingots. I need 11 2/3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I need this one to be at 100. Well, this one could stay at 2/3, right? I would just need to do this. That doesn't make sense, does it? How would adding 30 more give me the capability of 90? Hold on. So we added 30. And we added 60. And then we moved this one over, and then we added this one, that's 60. Then I just add 90 more? Let me think about this. I'm confusing myself. No, I'm an idiot. 11 2/3. I have 10 2/3. I still need to add that one. Jeez. I'm like, this still doesn't seem right. Anyways, I was about to make some point about how this is why I like using these blueprints and not using them all, because then that gets me the opportunity to very easily add more stuff later. Now we should be correct. So anyway, that's the 350 copper ingots. It's all going to try to go that way, and I actually need to send 90 of it. And I guess we'll do that in the next bay here, because I'm not going to need that. I need my constructor blueprint. And I don't even need separate runs down the middle, but that's fine. Kind of makes me want to reverse the whole thing, but whatever. Let's just, I guess, leave it like that. Anyways, this will go here. This will make copper sheets. I don't know how many I need. Let me just hook this up and then come back. All right, we're making some heat sinks now. I need to put another brace in right there, but we've got that going. I just brought the copper sheets right on down right to here. And then the alkyd sheets were already on this end of the building. So I just had to bring them up to the 3rd floor and bring them down. That's going to make us 15 heat sinks a minute. I'll go ahead and put a storage container and a dimensional depot. I don't think I have any more. I don't have any more Mercer spheres. We need to get a Mercer sphere or a few. So I just reloaded an older save because I'm like, wait a minute, I should have had more Mercer spheres, because I remember when I did the dupe thing that I had no summer sloops and I had to go find one to dupe it. So this is the end of episode 38 and I had 16 Mercer spheres. And I mean, you can see this is how everything was. And the only thing I've done since then is I added one dimensional depot, right? I've only added one and I had to go get that one. So I think I'm owed 16 actually out of, basically I used those 16 to dupe, but I never gave them back to myself. So I'm going to go grab 16 out from the main base from the dupe supply, because I'm not cheating, basically. Those are my 16. So I just took my 16 Mercer spheres back. Before this episode, I had 16 Mercer spheres, 0 summer sloops, and approximately 1,000 power shards. I took 500 of the power shards and I duped them to make whatever, 20,000, but then I put the 500 back. I know I put the 500 back. I had 0 summer sloops, so I had to go grab one, dupe it, make 1,800, and then I put that all in there. I had 16 Mercer spheres. I duped to 3,500, but I forgot to give my 16 back. So I've got my 16 back now. So now back to the Aluminum Foundry. I don't know where we're going. Oh, and I just wanted to say something real quick while I'm here, because I had a comment on my video, whichever episode it was, Control Room Complete, where I, showed this off. This room is the control room. If this was Space Engineers, I'd have a bunch of computers. We'd be running scripts. We would actually be controlling things here that, doesn't exist in this game. So I've got my control wall. Yeah, I thought about doing some like role play and making some like desks and doing some stuff. And I could still do that. I don't know. I just didn't. I do hope they give us more cosmetics in the future is kind of my hope, that we can make some more stuff like that. But I would like to make it look like a control room. But anyhow, I had a comment on that video and they thought it was a clickbait title. So when I called this the control room, I wasn't trying to be clickbaity. I did not think anyone would think that I was actually trying to show that I'm controlling my whole factory, because that just simply doesn't exist. Maybe there's some mod that adds, functionality like that. But I wasn't trying to be clickbaity. It's just that is the control room for, role play purposes. So that's what I called it. So anyways, sorry if anybody was, bothered by that. That was not my intention to deceive. I do still need to fix this bridge too. I think it would be okay as a cable stay bridge if just the legs kind of splayed out farther, but then it might look funny. It should really be a suspension bridge, but someday we'll fix that. All right, so there's 3 things left, and we kind of need to make them in this order. We need radio control units, so aluminum casing, no problem. 1 crystal oscillator a minute, no problem. 2.5 computers a minute. That's a huge, huge problem. We, according to my Excel file, we're actually negative 0.5 computers a minute, and it's been okay just because it's going to some space elevator thing that we're not using, but we really, really, really can't sustain that. So that's a huge problem just to make 2.5 of those. Then over here, okay, heat sinks, 12 of, and I'm making 15, I think, so that's no problem. We can bring some rubber over from the other building. That's super easy with the drone, and then water and nitrogen gas, super easy. So this one's not a problem. I can make the cooling systems. And then, of course, to make the turbo motor, though, I need the radio control unit. So we kind of have an issue right now. Oh, and 7.5 motors. I'm pretty sure I don't have that either. But, yeah, and then more rubber. So, yeah, I kind of need to go back to the medium factory and beef up our computer production. The place I literally just came from. So looking at computers here, we're making 2.5. I'm using 3. Adaptive control units we're not using right now. Supercomputers we're not using right now, but still not quite enough. Now, if I sloop it and double, which that's a manufacturer, so I would need 4 summer sloops, and I don't have any. But if we slooped it, that would get us 5. I mean, that's pretty close. We could kind of fix it that way, but looking at what we need, okay, we would need more plastic. Okay, we definitely got plastic. We definitely got cable. 10 circuit boards a minute. And see, this is the only reason the Excel file is better, is because I can search for stuff. We've got 13 left. So, and then what was the circuit boards taking? Plastic and copper sheets. I think copper sheets might be the holdup on that. But so we could easily double. We could easily double with the circuit boards. So I could go to 20, 40, 80. We could make 5. I could sloop it to 10. Like we can definitely up the computer production for sure. And then where's the crystal oscillators at? See, when you're not over here for a while, you don't know where anything is. Oh, we're not using any, and we're making 4, so that's more than enough. I feel like I needed something else too. I know rubber was fine. Heavy modular frames, yeah, so we're using exactly what we're making, assuming we were still doing that. Oh, motors, yes. So we're only making 3.5. We've got 1.5 left. I would need like another 8. So we would need a lot more stators and rotors. So stators, wire and pipe. I'm pretty sure I have plenty of wire and pipe. So I could definitely make more stators. I could definitely make more rotors too. Yeah. So we need to upgrade stators, rotors, and then motors. And then we need to upgrade circuit boards and then, no, not circuit boards, and then computers. Okay, let me see if I can knock that out. And the computers are completely backed up right now, so I could have not done this at the moment, but it's fine. So the nice thing is, because I got this all set up, I should just have to connect these 3 belts. The recipe's already over here. We'll have to hook the power up to that. Yeah, this should be real simple. So that gives me 5, and I technically need 5.5. I don't really want to sloop these because it would take, quite a few sloops. And I have the stuff other than I don't quite have enough circuit boards to do a 3rd one, but I'm going to throw this down. So I'm going to use this one, but I'm going to underclock it maybe to, because see, I don't have 10 circuit boards. 5. How many more circuit boards do I have? 3.75, but I could up that a little bit. Yeah, that would still give me a surplus. Worst case scenario, that gives me a surplus. So I'm going to go ahead and hook this up and redo these numbers, and then we'll have to go up the circuit boards a little bit. So luckily I had 1 extra assembler, so I've got it set to 66%. That's going to give us 5 extra circuit boards. So we're going to be making 35 circuit boards. We're only going to need 31.25, which gives us enough for the 6.25 computers, and we only need 5.5. I am seeing an issue with the plastic, and we should have 400 plastic coming into this building, and we're only using 284 according to my math, but I have a feeling I'm using more somewhere than there's a belt capable of sending it, so I need to kind of troubleshoot that. Because we should have plenty. There's probably just a belt that needs sped up. Like, yeah, there's plenty of plastic right here. Oh, those are screws. Huh. Never mind. Yeah, we probably need to speed that belt up. What is it? A Mark III. Yeah, 270. Yeah, and I should have 400. That needs to be a Mark IV for sure. All right, let me upgrade that. That was definitely the problem because all these storage containers are full of plastic. It's just that Mark III belt could only do 270. And we're only needing 284, but obviously that's a little more than 270. So I went ahead, and this one's already Mark IV that brings it from the train station. So that one's fine. I did go ahead and upgrade this to a 5 just so those can recombine. And I'm going to leave this one as a 3. I don't really care about that, but that should fix that. I do like the catwalks on these blueprints, but the problem is when you put a bunch of them in, if this was real life, you wouldn't need like a catwalk here and a catwalk there. And yeah, I would like to, if I was doing this all over again, still have some catwalks, but clearly not this many because it's not really necessary. I was just looking at the heavy modular frames because we're making 2 and we're using 2, and I don't really like that. So I was trying to see, like, I can't quite double it. So looking at my thing here, we're using 40 steel pipes. That's fine. I've got 200 extra steel pipes, so I could easily double that. 240 screws. We actually only have 120 screws left. We're using, out of our 1440, we're using 1320. So I could go 50% on that. Encased beams, we're making 18 and I'm using 10, so I can't quite double it, but I could easily do 50%. Modular frames, same thing. I'm making 20 using 12.5, so 7.5. So I could easily do 50% more. So I could overclock this to 150%, or I could just connect this other one, which I think comes out better power-wise, and we'll just underclock this one to 50%. So that way we'll be making 3 a minute. So I do have a bit of a screw problem because I've got a Mark III belt bringing screws, so I need to go upgrade that. And technically now we're zeroed out on the screws. Okay, so to turn up motors, I need more stators and rotors. And I'm trying to find it on my Excel. So stators, I need more, steel pipe. That's no problem. I can turn that up multiple times more. Wire, I could turn that up several times more. No issue there. The rotors, I need a bunch more rods. That's no issue. The problem is screws. I have 0 screws right now. And I believe I'm using 480 screws a minute on this. So how many are there? We've already got all 5 of them on it. and some weird overclock. I don't know why, just to make something work out. So yeah, I guess the first thing I need to do, looking at my rods, I've got 474 rods extra. So I need to go make quite a bit more screws. All right, I'm just going to go to 15 motors a minute from 3.75. I'm only using 9.5, so that leaves us 5.5 extra, which I think is important because I'm sure we need motors for other things. So with that, I need 30 rotors and 30 stators. So now I need to back up, and we would need to triple this. So I would need, 90 pipe and that kind of stuff. I need to update the signs for the other ones I've changed too. Let me figure this math out. This is more complicated than I thought I was getting into, but oh well, it's got to be done. That is the advantage of this design, though, that you can just come back later and add more on. And it's like, oh, I need more inputs. Okay, we'll go to where the inputs are and add more on. You can just keep adding more on. And I like that because you don't have to figure it all out in the beginning. Like when you're first laying out the building, well, how many motors am I going to make? Who knows? Who cares? Just throw a spot down for it, change it later. Discovered a minor problem with the steel pipes. We're making 320 a minute, but it's only on a Mark III belt, which only can do 270. So I guess we've just never used over 270, but I got to upgrade this belt now. I've got this all hooked up, but we're not making enough stuff yet. So in order to do this, I need 200 rods a minute, and that's more than fine. Even with the 200 rods coming out, I've still got 370 rods a minute extra. The problem then is the screws. I need 1,000 screws a minute, which is 520 less. So I need to make 520 more screws a minute, but I've got 370 rods a minute to play with. So pretty sure that should be plenty, but let's go up the screw production now. And then I think all of this is taken care of. So I don't really have room to do enough screws here, just kind of the way it ended up. So I'm going to do my second floor, or I shouldn't call it a second floor, my second level blueprint, which we've only used a couple times, but there are 4 constructors down here that aren't being used, and there's room for 4 more. That's not going to get us the 500 though. So I think I'll probably just leave all this as is and then run some rods up here, and I need to make at least 520. And that, it's 4 to 1. So what's that? That's only 130 rods, and I've got like 370. So we should be more than good on that. It's not ideal. Oh, I gotta go back and extend these too, because the blueprint didn't have them all the way down. I don't remember why. I think because I moved it up or something. I don't remember. Okay, I got the rods hooked up. Honestly, what needs to happen is I should go back through like everything in here and reduce the number of belts, because I end up having to like pull from multiple belts, but I just really don't want to do that. So we only need 200 rods. We got 370. That's going to go up here. That's going to feed all these. This is going to make us 19 times 40, 760 screws. I only need 520, so that's more than enough. I need to combine these two together and then get it back down onto this floor. And I've already got a third belt. Where are the screws at? Right here. So the third belt is right here. So I need to get those, that second floor combined together and then onto this belt. And then that should be it. Okay, and that's hooked up. And I don't need them right now because there's a bunch of stuff that we're not really using however many motors I said. We're using nowhere near that, and then we're not using the stators and rotors, and they're all backed up, and then so we're not using the screws. So yeah, I'm basing this on if everything is running, and obviously lots of things aren't running. So at the moment, we don't need any of that, but we will. Now, I think I've got everything. I believe everything should be more than good. It's hard to test because literally all this stuff is stopped, right? Like the stators and rotors are backed up, so the motors are backed up, and yeah. Let me just watch this for a little bit and just make sure I've got everything and double check stuff and update the control room stuff on the board. And then I think we've got everything up to speed here at the medium factory that we needed production-wise. There were 4 summer sloops here for the supercomputer, and it's backed up, and I'm not even using them, so I'm going to pull those out because I might want those somewhere else. This is about 1,000 times harder to update than my Excel file. So starting up here in the top row with the most complicated stuff, we didn't change those. Well, I did. I pulled the sloops out, so I changed those numbers. So the heavy modular frames, changed that, changed the computers. Those are all unchanged. Coming down here, reinforced plates, that didn't change. The encased beams did change because more of them are going to the heavy mod frames. This changed because more of them are going to the heavy mod frames. The stators and rotors obviously changed quite a bit. So not just with their outputs, but with their inputs changed. Then the motors, of course, changed. And then, yep, circuit boards, that changed. So that's that. And then the steel pipes changed because there's more getting output somewhere. The rods changed because more of that's going to screws and rotors. The screws obviously changed. The wire changed because more of the wire was going to somewhere. The cable changed because more of the cable's going somewhere. Yeah, 50 to computers. I might not have changed the cable. I need to check on that. The copper sheets changed. The plastic changed. Yeah, everything, like, it just cascades down. I need to check the computers, but I think I've got this all updated and right. It's impossible to tell if the factory's running correctly just because so many things are backstuffed. I had originally intended for everything to be able to sync and we could just keep it all going, and I don't have the power to do that now, so I'm guessing it all works correctly. I don't really know, but we'll go ahead and end the episode here. I didn't get as far as I wanted, but we had to do a bunch of work over here. But then next time we'll be able to come back and then actually get like the turbo motors and the cooling system and whatever the other thing is, the radio control units, get those into production. So see you guys next time.